Gear up for Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. It's your final word on sports all across the state. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now here are your hosts, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Being here in your first day and you're walking by the Carolina people and they're talking about beating Clemson. So you hear that very quickly, and you understand that. You understand the importance of the game in our state, and we talk about winning our state all the time.
And we're going to have to play well. So we're excited about it. It's another opportunity, for a championship. There's a trophy involved, and so it's a big deal.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Hang on a second. Let me get my stomach out of the way here. Good gracious. How much turkey did you eat last night? A bunch? Still dealing with the no turkey?
We had prime rib.
You're that family.
Yeah, really. Turn off your mic.
Prime ribs for Christmas,
turn
man.
off your mic and go back to New York.
Yeah,
okay?
we didn't do turkey. We did prime rib at our
Did you eat turkey, bro?
I had turkey, but I was driving, so.
Would you have a turkey sandwich?
Oh, no, just turkey, but not a big wad of it because, all that.
Well, you can drive. You can hold a turkey leg in one hand and drive with the other.
Yeah, but the tryptophan hits you, and then you go off the side of the road.
I ate a lot of food yesterday.
We had fried turkey. My first in-person fried turkey.
You never had fried turkey? Did you
I've
fry
had it before, yeah. But we did it with an indoor fryer.
Oh, like the Butterball indoor one?
Yeah.
That makes it a lot easier.
Really is easy.
My mom has one of those.
But I tell you what,
that's cheating. It's not as much fun as going outside, throwing that thing in some hot grease out in the driveway.
It is amazing how that hot grease reacts to a turkey.
And watch it explode.
You
know what's amazing? If you
put your arm, that thing.
You put your arm down in that hot grease and see what happens.
Come out with no arm.
The Butterball, it comes with the gloves, and it's not as much fun. You need to get a deep fryer and do it outside.
My fun is in the eating, not the cooking.
Well, that's
okay. My fun is in the eating.
There's fun to be had in both.
And it tasted extremely well. We hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Thank you for joining us here tonight on Sports Talk, the eve of number 114. USC and Clemson going to go down tomorrow night in the Valley. What do you think? 800-956-7266. Our email talkback@sportstalksc.com and on Twitter @SportsTalkSC. Got a lot of comments on the website and on Twitter. I put up a story last night to counter K-Mac's story from earlier in the week in which he gave the Gamecocks no chance, and my story gives the Gamecocks a chance. Who's got something playing out of their laptops?
You're
causing me to have a headache.
You actually said the Gamecocks can win the game, not just cover the spread, but win.
Well, you have to give them a reason. You have to give Gamecock fans a reason to get up tomorrow and make that drive to the upstate or turn on the television and watch the game. And I gave them reasons why and how South Carolina can be successful tomorrow night.
Yeah,
I think
run the ball up the middle with
out thought reasons. Now, I will say this. No professional football mind contributed to my analysis, okay? It's all my own.
Yeah.
I didn't call Chuck Reedy. I didn't call Lou Holtz. I didn't call Brad Scott.
This was post-turkey that you wrote this?
This was post-turkey,
okay.
Yes.
So that makes a little sense. You have a couple glasses of wine with your turkey?
Just Pepsi.
Just Pepsi?
Just Pepsi.
Now, was
we
it
had
Diet
wine
Pepsi?
floating around, but I didn't mess with any.
Okay. Well, maybe you needed some.
I was going to sit back and relax until about 6:06.
Yeah, let's not go down that path.
Well, I really, some fans, I know you want to win, but if I'm a fan of a team and I know I'm a prohibitive underdog, I want to see mentally how a young team plays in that atmosphere. And everybody said, well, there's no moral victory. Sometimes that's the only victory you have. So you could tell, you say, okay, well, fine, great. Team A won, but Team B, look at all of what we have coming back, and they've been through the rigors of the swamp and the valley. And those two teams do what next year? They come back to your place.
Yeah.
So,
that's what you hope for if you're South Carolina.
So you don't think South Carolina can get Rico Dowdle running the football up against Clemson?
Why would I think that?
I'm just
South
asking
Carolina,
the question.
No.
I mean,
I think
Clemson has given up some rushing yards.
Yeah, maybe
right
Dowdle can get going a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe Dowdle can reel off a few, but a consistent running game. for Dowdle against them? No.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
You don't think Bentley can have any success throwing the ball quickly to the
good
throwing it
outside
that he has?
Yeah, he has some good receivers.
Well, they can run inside routes. They can run. I'm suggesting they run quick slants to the middle of the field. I'm expecting Clemson to play a lot of man coverage because I think they're going to blitz a lot and throw a bunch of different stuff at Bentley. So maybe you can get some fades down the field or just some back shoulders or some just straight down the field throws. Maybe you'll get lucky. I mean, they're going to have to get lucky if they're going to win.
Well, that's a good if they get lucky, because I think Clemson can play poorly and still win. And I think South Carolina could play their best game of the season.
Can't play that poorly. They cannot play that poorly. That's a
I'm not saying they could go out there and turn the ball over.
Fans to go
fans can go in there with whatever mindset they want.
I think this is a game, though, that you have to come in considering throwing the pass to set up the run. I mean, I know Clemson probably they're going to say, look, we want to get them 3 and out quick. So on those downs where you're behind schedule and you say, oh, they didn't want to get in 3rd and long, well, treat first down as 3rd and long and start throwing. And I understand there could be an incomplete pass, but guess what? I keep throwing down the field. You say you wouldn't, right?
No, I said not kick off.
No, not kick off.
Yeah, if you get a chance to. You'll have at least one.
My point is, if I got a young quarterback with a good arm.
I wouldn't punt to him either. I would punt it out of bounds.
But here's the deal.
I'd punt it straight to Ray McLeod.
Here's the deal. Instead of worrying about a punt, how about thinking you get a guy like Edwards, one-on-one coverage, let him just jet down the field and throw it up. If it gets picked off, it's a punt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You gotta
I'm thinking if
chances.
they get one-on-one coverage,
you got to take chances.
Take your shots
and
hope
they're
for the
going
best.
to. But is the offensive line going to give him time to pass? This will be the best front four that they face this season. This is an offensive line that has struggled against pretty much every front four they have played this season. And we haven't even started talking about Clemson's offense against South Carolina's defense. It's not like Clemson's not going to score. South Carolina would have to score at least 30 points to win this game, right? Would we all agree on that? They would have to score. Yes. They're not going to go out there and win 10-3.
No. Look, I didn't say they were going to win in my story. I said they will lose within the margin of the spread.
Well, but your headline was, can South Carolina upset Clemson? You bet your golden spurs they can.
Yeah.
That's what you put in your headline.
Saying
so don't sit there
that
and
they can, but I'm not buying.
Said they can win.
I'm not buying what I'm writing in terms of saying they're going to win.
So basically what I wrote was absolute BS, guys.
No, I'm just saying this is how they can win. I'm not saying they're going to go out and do. If
you
they
bet
win
your
out,
golden spurs, they can win.
If everything plays out like I wrote it, they will win. But in all likelihood, everything is not going to play out the way I wrote it.
You're talking out of every side of your mouth right now.
Clemson is not going to turn the ball over the number of times USC will need it to. They are not going to complete all the passes. They're not going to break the long runs that they. Oh, I'm just saying. Hypothetically speaking, if they can do this, I think they've got a chance to win. But I'm thinking more in terms of losing within the 24-point spread. Have something to think about instead of the Gamecocks just being picked to get
a couple of questions
drugged by the Tigers.
Did anybody think Memphis would beat Houston today? Answer no. I think Missouri would beat Arkansas.
Probably not.
I mean, I get upsets happen, but that if that's what you're basing on, there's always something that can happen. Yeah, they have a statistical
here's the deal.
chance.
Even if you know this team is superior to you, I'll bow to one of your guys you used to root for, Pat Riley. The best way to respect your opponent is to what? Give him no respect. That was Pat Riley's deal. Even if you know the team's better, don't you kowtow down them and lose the game. You play the game and make them earn it. That's what you do.
Well, the other thing Gamecock fans can think about is their team this year is better than last year's team. Is Clemson's team this year better than last year's team? And, Clemson kind of messed around in Columbia and found itself in a fourth quarter game against South Carolina. So, maybe the Gamecocks think, hey, you know what? We're better than we were last year. Maybe Clemson's not as good as they were last year, but they are playing at home. That's what I said. That's what I said. They messed around. They turned it over. Will Clemson do the same thing and give South Carolina that opportunity? If they do, then the Gamecocks are going to have,
you bet your golden spurs,
a chance to finish within the 24-point spread or maybe even pull off the stunning upset. We'll be right back. We are back, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, here on a Friday night, night after Thanksgiving, night before USC Clemson. Hope you're having a great time. A lot of parties, I would think, around the state, celebrating the big game tomorrow night and also continuing to celebrate the holiday. We thank you for joining us wherever you are tuned in. Don't forget to follow us tomorrow up at Death Valley. K-Mac and I will be there, and we'll be covering the game for you on Twitter and on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. We'll drop a pregame Periscope for you. Postgame, of course, coverage of both locker rooms, comments from the head coaches and the players. Bring that all to you on our website, SportsTalkSC. A couple of quick things that we Virginia Tech wins the Coastal Division of the ACC by virtue of NC State beating North Carolina today. A lot of upsets today leading into a rivalry Saturday. NC State wins at 28-21 in Chapel Hill. That makes Virginia Tech the Coastal winner. They'll play Virginia tomorrow, and then it'll be Clemson and Virginia Tech in the ACC championship game a week from tomorrow night. Missouri did come back to beat Arkansas 28-24. Drew Lock, 268 yards passing and a touchdown. Memphis, with all the talk about Tom Herman swirling, handed him another loss. Houston Falls, 48-44. Greg Ward Jr. did pass for 504 yards and 4 touchdowns. Ferguson for Missouri passed for 409 yards and 4 touchdowns. Miller for Missouri had 15 catches for 189 yards. Bonner for Houston had 17 catches for 235 yards. Out west, Washington leading Washington State. This is for the Pac-12 North, 35-17. Huskies on top of the Cougars. TCU leading Texas 17-9, 12:31 to go for Charlie Strong to somehow manage to rally. But the word was he needed to thoroughly beat TCU. If they win, it's going to be close, not thoroughly. 17-9.
Got to win by a lot. Winning's not enough anymore.
I thought it was. Yeah. I thought it was over because they lost to Kansas for the first time since 1938.
Well, that's being held against them. Yeah. Iowa is beating Nebraska 26-10, late third quarter. That'll knock Nebraska out of the running for its division title possibility. And that is it for the major games going on this evening. All right. David Shelton coming up. We'll talk high school football playoff preview in just a moment. Let's go to Stephen down in Charleston. Stephen, welcome into Sports Talk tonight. How are you?
Thank you, guys. Happy belated Thanksgiving, I guess.
Same to you.
Yeah. So, first of all, how about them Cowboys? 10-1. Unbelievable game. Interesting note last night, if y'all didn't see the stat, they said that the NFL, of course, they've been talking all year about the ratings dropping. They said that the Cowboys-Redskins game yesterday was the highest watched regular season game in Fox history. So that was pretty interesting there. I guess a lot of it had to do with the fact that they were, 6-game win streak for Washington, 9-game win streak for the Cowboys, and both of them relevant. So
yeah,
pretty interesting though. That was a great game. But some notes real quick. I guess some thoughts I had on the game. I'm a Carolina alumni, but I've always been a diehard Clemson fan. Grew up that way and went to USC for actual educational reasons, I guess. But and you would think it'd be the opposite. You think they would slightly bring my hatred down a little bit, but if anything, it actually made me hate USC even more because I went from 2006 to 2010. So since I went, I think they've lost 7 or 8 of 11, something like that, to Carolina. So it's made me hate them even more because 90% of my friends are Carolina alumni, obviously. So that's been pretty tough. But I'm with you, Corn. I think they will be under the spread because I was really surprised to see it be a 25-point spread. Not because I honestly think that Clemson's obviously a better team, but I just feel like that's going to be really, really high there. So I could see it being like a 10-point game going into the fourth quarter, maybe a little bit more, maybe 13-point game, and then adding a late score, making it like a 34-17 type of thing. So, but it's going to be really interesting. Like I think, like K-Mac was saying, that it's going to take a lot. It would take a lot of bad things and all happen in a perfect way for Carolina to pull the upset. But I definitely don't think it'll be 25 points. So just my take on that. But y'all have a good weekend and enjoy the game.
All right. Thank you very much.
Everybody needs to bet on this thing. Everybody is convinced that spread's too high. Vegas, break Vegas. If all these people that are saying that, bet on the Gamecocks and the 25 points. If you're a Clemson fan, you can hedge your bets, number one.
Sure.
So even if you don't cover the spread, at least you feel like you made some
Cash
money
in on something.
or vice versa.
All right, let's jump to David Shelton, High School Sports Report, Charleston Post and Courier. It's a second round of high school football playoff action tonight for the high school league teams. Our high school report brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. With new auto insurance rates from Farm Bureau, you could be saving a whole lot of money, even if you received before. Rates are now more competitive than ever. Get a free quote today from your local Farm Bureau insurance agent. We welcome David to the program. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Looking forward to a big Friday night of football. And K-Mac and I were going over the games, and really, round two got a lot of really good matchups. Hard to pick out any one that stands out over the other.
Yeah, I was actually doing the same thing, sitting up here in the press box before Jared called me, and there are a lot of really good matchups, but there's not any games where you just go, oh boy, this is just the game of all games. I think Fort Dorchester Blythewood has some intrigue because of the two quarterbacks, and they're both juniors and they're both great athletes. But I'm not sure how close that game will be. I mean, it'll be as close as Jordan Adams can make it for Blythewood because Fort Dorchester is going to score points. There's some good games and there'll be a lot of excitement. But I think you're really kind of waiting to get through this week, and then the matchups really start. I mean, assuming the favorites win, the matchups start to really look kind of fun to look at.
Yeah, no doubt about it. As I scroll down the list, trying to pick out something that really jumps out at me in any of the divisions. Again, they're all good matchups for the most part, but this Christchurch Abbeville game. I know Christchurch has been a little bit off its game this year. Abbeville, of course, in 2A has been a dominant team. Does Christchurch can they find some offense and maybe some defense to do something here against Abbeville?
Well, they might find some, but I don't think they'll find enough. I think Abbeville's just way better. I think they're just a better football team. That game could be close because it is playoffs, and Christchurch guys do a great job of getting them ready. But I think the Westside Dorman game could be interesting. Dorman doesn't play very much defense, but that could be a high-scoring game. And anytime you get in a high-scoring game, anything could happen. A team could win. And Cane Bay, North Myrtle Beach in 4A, both teams 10 wins. One of them's going home with 10 wins, and that's a tough thing in the second round of the playoffs. Yeah.
How about York at South Aiken? We've talked about South Aiken all season. What a turnaround year for them. They got a playoff win last week. They're hosting again. York's played a little bit better here of late, but I don't know. You probably have to lean towards the Thoroughbreds being at home and based on what they've done all season.
Yeah, their offense is just, they're explosive, running and passing. And, York, like you said, York has played better of late. I don't know if they can slow the South Aiken team down. They're playing with a lot of confidence right now. And South Aiken's a dark horse in the upstate. I know South Point's up there, but the way South Aiken can score the football, man, they're going to be a team to watch.
Does Strom Thurmond have anything for Dillon tonight?
They'll be. I think it'll be a competitive game. I don't think Dillon's going to win 60-6 or anything like that, but I think Dillon's a better team, and they're really playing well right now. They're starting to hit their peak, and they're. I talked to somebody this week that said they kind of look like Dillon looked in November, which is kind of scary for the rest of the world. But
yeah.
But I think it could be a competitive game.
All right, and tell me what I want to hear regarding Latta at Bamberg Earhart. Tell me what I want to hear.
Bamberg's good.
Well, yeah, Bamberg's good, and Latta's good too. Latta got a good win last week and really handled Calhoun County pretty easily. But making another long trip and going to Bamberg, you know what they say when you go to Bamberg, you better win by 3 touchdowns because you're gonna, the first 2 touchdowns are gonna be, on the other team's side. So it's hard to, in other words, it's hard to win in Bamberg. We'll just say that.
You said that. I did not.
Did the head official graduate from Bamberg?
Have to investigate that. Okay, David. Thank you, man. We'll hear you tonight on the high school scoreboards beginning at 10, 10:30, and 11 tonight. All the scores from across the states. Back in a moment. And welcome back into Sports Talk here on this very special Friday night, the eve of the USC Clemson-USC game, 7:30 tomorrow night up in Death Valley. Let's welcome in to Sports Talk for another edition of the Football Filibuster, two of the greatest living former governors in the history of South Carolina, now being joined by a third as Nikki Haley becomes a former governor here in a matter of weeks. We have Governor Jim Hodges and Governor David Beasley. Governor Hodges, how are you, sir?
Hey, Phil. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. Governor Beasley, how are you?
Doing great. Great Thanksgiving down here in Alabama, Tuscaloosa, and Iron Bowl down here as we head back to Clemson tomorrow.
Oh, you'll be at the game.
Well, we're looking forward to getting back, and it's going to be a magnificent day in the Alabama and the South and in South Carolina.
Absolutely. Governor Hodges, you're going to go up for the game?
No, I'm not. I'm going to be watching it here in Columbia. A 7:30 game for me at my age and getting home at 3 a.m., it ain't happening.
Wait a minute. Don't you still have sled protection and transportation?
The only protection I've got is Sam and Luke Hodges.
Okay.
No, I don't have any protection. That's it.
The picks from you two guys, we do have the official prediction from our current governor, soon to be our former governor, Nikki Haley. I thought we'd lead off the football filibuster with her pick in her own words. Go ahead, Jared.
But I'm looking forward to a Clemson Tiger win, and it's going to be a great night. But it'll be a fun rivalry. We wish the Gamecocks good luck, but I wish my Tigers a great win.
Now, Governor Hodges, when you were living in the People's House here in South Carolina, did you ever go public wishing a South Carolina win over Clemson?
Absolutely, every year. Hey, there's certain things I think people respect. Governor Beasley would agree with that. It's sort of hard when you graduated from a school to deny that you wanted to win the game, and people expect that.
Governor Beasley, were you also outspoken this time of the year?
Yeah, I was. But, I was just listening to what Governor Haley had to say, and you could tell she's already brushing up on her diplomatic skills the way she said it.
Yes. She's going to need more than that in her next job.
Oh, yeah.
As we move on to governor number 117. So we'll have governors. Then there have been games in this series. I think we'd rather have more games than governors, if you ask me. If you were to ask the people, more games, fewer governors, we'd all be better off. But anyway. Last week, Governor Beasley, you have stormed into the lead 3-2. You are 32-28. Governor Hodges 2-3 last week. You are 31-29. Thus, Governor Hodges, You shall lead us tonight. Are you ready, sir?
I am ready.
All right, let's get her done. We'll begin. These are all tough calls because they're rivalry games, so you never know. Florida at Florida State, and the home team, Seminoles, favored by 7.5. Governor Hodges.
I'm a big believer that you take points in rivalry games, and I think Florida is as good as Florida State, so I'm going to take Florida.
You want Florida getting the points, Governor Beasley?
I'm with Jim. I think Florida State's going to win, but 6 points is too many. I think it's going to be a 3 or 4 point game, so I'll go with Florida.
Well, they're getting 7.5, but that still falls into your rationale.
Well, even more so.
Okay. All right, Kentucky at Louisville. The Cardinals favored by 26. Governor Hodges.
Yeah, same here. Louisville's been pretty inconsistent. I know that they are explosive offensively, but 26 points for a rivalry game against a team that's not half bad is too much. So I'm going to take the Wildcats.
That's a ton of points. Governor Beasley, what do you think?
I agree with Jim. It's a lot of points, but I tell you what, I don't think Kentucky can do it. I think they need more than 30 points. So I will go with Louisville.
You got the Cardinals laying 26 at home, expecting an explosion from Lamar Jackson and that Louisville offense. All right, to the noon game, everyone will be watching at the Horseshoe in Columbus. It's Michigan at Ohio State. Buckeyes favored by 6.5. Governor Hodges.
Yeah, we'll see if we have a Jim Harbaugh explosion in this game. I imagine we will. I think Michigan. This is going to be a really close game, and it's hard to imagine that it will be a touchdown difference. So I'll take Michigan.
Michigan taking the 6.5. Governor Beasley.
Yeah, this game's going to be tight. I think Ohio State's going to win, but only by less than a field goal. So Michigan with the points. Quarterback situation kind of dicey there at Michigan, and we'll see how that affects their play. Might see a lot of peppers there at the Wildcat back there in the backfield for Michigan. Okay, now Auburn at Alabama. I know what Governor Beasley's going to do here. There's no reason to ask. 17.5 points, though, against Auburn. You realize as great as Alabama has been, they only lead this series by 9 games. It's not like they are up by 25 or 30 games. I mean, Auburn has won its share. And they're 17.5 point dogs in the Iron Bowl, Governor Hodges.
Yeah, I mean, this Alabama team is as good a college team as I think I've seen in a long time. But having said that, Auburn's got a pretty decent defense, and it's just hard for me to imagine that they'll beat them by 18 points. So I'll take the points in Auburn.
You want the points in Auburn? Governor Beasley, yep. I know why, I know who you're picking, I know why, but go ahead and tell us anyway.
Well, you know why, you know from who, and you know from where I'm come. It's Alabama all the way, no matter how many points it is. It just doesn't matter. I'm sleeping in Tuscaloosa tonight, waking up in Tuscaloosa in the morning.
So it's roll tide all the way for you. Let me ask you this question. Your fondness for Alabama, I mean, that was a marriageable you married into that fondness, right? In other words, if you hadn't gone to Clemson, would you have gone to Alabama?
No, I don't know about that. But I married into it. That's all history now, brother. It is all the future. So I'm married to Alabama all the way. Love it.
You got it. You got it. All right, now to the big one, 114th renewal of the Palmetto Bowl. It's actually only the, third Palmetto Bowl or second? When did we start calling it the Palmetto Bowl officially? Was that last year they started recognizing it or 2 years ago? I think it was last year. Yes. Anyway, 114th edition of USC Clemson, Carolina, however you want to look at it. And the Gamecocks are getting 24 points. Governor Hodges, what do you think?
Yeah, like I said earlier, 24 points is an awful lot for a rivalry game. And USC, I mean, clearly Clemson's better, but I don't think they're that much better. So I'll take the Gamecocks.
You want the Gamecocks, and you want the points.
I do.
Do you think any hope for a straight-up victory for the Gamecocks?
Yeah, I mean, the hope is if Clemson plays like they did against Pittsburgh and they have turnovers, yeah, there's a chance that they can win it. Is it likely? No, but if they have turnovers against us, then yeah, there's a chance we can win.
Do you feel that way after reading my analysis at SportsTalkSC.com that you probably read a few times overnight?
Well, that has not been in my reading material, so maybe I should read it.
That's all right. I never read any of your State of the States either, so we're all good.
There you go. We're even. But if you have trouble sleeping, read mine.
All right, Governor Beasley, what are you going to do with this game?
You know, the Gamecocks, I think, have improved substantially since that first week. And with that points in this game, even though it's at Clemson, Clemson's going to win, in my opinion. But I think 2 touchdowns is about what it's going to be, and that's too many points. So I'm picking the Gamecocks like Jim did.
Ooh, picking the Gamecocks, but you won't go near straight up victory.
Well, I can sleep with myself, but I got to sleep with Alabama, so I'm picking Alabama no matter what.
Right, we get that. But the Gamecocks, you don't see them winning the game. You just see them finishing within 23, 24 points.
Yeah. I think Gamecocks can't. I don't think they can win. But, you know, how many times have we been surprised over the many years? But I think Clemson's just too strong, got too much to lose. And but with the points, I'll pick Carolina with the point. 24 points is a lot of points.
You got it. Guys, we appreciate it. Have a great rest of your holiday. Have a great rivalry weekend. And we'll check back with you next week as we go into the championship games. We thank you much.
Thank you. Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Jim Hodges, David Beasley with us tonight, the football filibuster here on Sports Talk. Both like the Gamecocks, but getting the points, of course. Professional help coming up.
Need some insight for this weekend's games? Our Sterling picks are on the way. This is Sports Talk.
Okay, welcome back in Sports Talk here on this Friday night, going into a big weekend of football, which, of course, commenced last night with LSU's impressive win at Texas A&M. Is that enough for Orgeron to convince the knuckleheads at LSU that he should be the guy as the next head coach, or are they just so in love with a 3-loss Tom Herman that they've got to have him? But then again, there's always Texas waiting in the wings. Assuming Texas continues to lose to TCU, in all likelihood, that will be the final nail in the coffin for Charlie Strong out there. A lot of things going to be happening here over the next couple of weeks, and there's going to be all kind of reports going many different directions. Fortunately, here in South Carolina this year, we don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So, looking ahead to tomorrow, we welcome in from Paramount Sports Lee Sterling for our Sterling picks, some professional help for you as you look at some big games. Another winning weekend for us last week by Lee. You are on fire.
Yeah, we got to keep it going.
November.
You're you're like a turkey in hot grease.
I have a feeling, guys, that Herman and his agent are playing Texas and using LSU to get more money.
Ding, 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 ding.
Just to stay at Houston? Yep. Just to stay at Houston?
No,
I think
Texas. Go to Texas.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, okay.
So,
Okay. I see.
We'll see how it plays out, but that's just what I'm hearing.
Well, is his agent the same as Jimbo's? Because Jimbo was playing that same violin, apparently. Now, I mean, when are athletic directors around this country going to wake up when it comes to dealing with these marquee coaches?
Well, I think it's not the AD so much as it is. I mean, LSU's making a run at them, so you put your offer on the table. But we in the media, we have to follow all these leads, and it's easy to do. The same thing, Kirby Smart and Will Muschamp have the same agent, and depending on who you talk to, the whole Kirby Smart's coming to South Carolina thing was just to make Georgia make a move, which they did, and then get his guy Will Muschamp the job at South Carolina, and everybody's happy. He's cashing checks.
Yeah, absolutely. Here to be an agent, boy. I tell you what, if you got the right people,
Sexton's good.
You're right. It's all about the Benjamin thing. Like I said, this is. I think you're going to see crazier things happen. I'm also hearing that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to make a play for Jimbo Fisher.
So you know what? You ought to just put these head coaches, these prominent guys whose names are mentioned, just put them in Santa Claus suits because they are presenting gifts to a lot of people and their families over the next few weeks. Okay, another good win for you this past weekend, 3-2 week. And tell folks where they can get all the needed information for this weekend.
Well, we're on a roll in football and also basketball. So you want to get involved, go to ParamountSports.com. Use coupon code SAVE50 to save $50 on any one of our football or basketball packages. So we do oppose. In fact, in basketball alone, 21-7. We had the outright call of North Carolina State earlier today. So check out the website, all times, ParamountSports.com.
All right, let's get to what you got for us. We'll begin with Ohio State laying 6 against Michigan.
Well, I think everyone would have loved to have seen both teams have all their guys on deck for this game, but probably not the case for Michigan. I'm hearing they might even try to play Wilton Speight tomorrow with a broken collarbone. If they do, that's a big, big mistake. And then if they have to go with O'Corn, the backup, I don't think he's the guy. I mean, here's a guy who left Houston. He left Houston because he got beat out. Ohio State has more weapons on offense. J.T. Barrett having 24 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. And on top of that, he had 8 rushing touchdowns and almost 750 rushing yards. The weather looks good, which last week really hurt them in that game against Michigan State. The weather forecast for tomorrow, mid-40s, just a 10% chance of rain. I like Ohio State big, 30-14.
All right. What does that mean to Michigan and the playoffs? Out?
They're done.
Done. Stick a turkey.
So
Stick a turkey.
Washington would be the benefactor.
Yeah, Washington winning big now, 45-17. So they're waiting in the wings. Okay, Iron Bowl, Alabama by 17 over Auburn.
Yeah, normally I look to underdogs in these big rivalry games. Here's the problem. When you look at Alabama, what type of quarterback hurts them, and it's the only guy in the last few years was Deshaun Watson. So Sean White in no way resembles him, no way plays like him. He's not 100%, and he's not a running threat. So you got to run the football on Bama some, and no one has been able to do it for more than 115 yards this year. Then on top of that, their defense and special teams, very opportunistic, 12 touchdowns combined. I think Bama pulls away late, 41-16.
All right. To the big one here in the Palmetto State, you've got Clemson laying 23. We've been talking 24 points all week.
Yep.
You got 23 against South Carolina. How do you see it?
Well, it's up to 26 points now, guys. I mean, this line is coming up to the stratosphere. Here's the problem for Clemson. You keep looking at them every week, and you keep waiting for them to turn it on, and they really have not done it except for late when they came back against in that game against Louisville. So I think they're still there. I think they have the talent, but South Carolina, from the first game to right now, one of the most improved teams in the country with Bentley, Daddle, and Samuel. I think they're going to be able to score on this Clemson defense, and the Gamecocks 8-2 against the spread. The Tigers the last 10 games here, and they kept it close last year. Clemson wins 38-24, but the Gamecocks cover.
That sounds like a reasonable suggestion there. And your game of the week, Florida and Florida State, and it is the Seminoles laying 6 to the Gators.
Should be a great game here. Dalvin Cook, I mean, he keeps breaking records by the week. That Florida Gator defense did the job last week against LSU. You want to get the game call, 800-400-9741. And like I said, check out the website. Always specials and free pick videos to watch. ParamountSports.com. I want to wish all you guys and your families and your staff and all the listeners out there a happy and healthy holiday weekend.
And same back to you. We appreciate you, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good, guys.
Thank you so much, Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports. Okay, we've heard from the governors. We've heard from the pro. Now it's time to hear from the amateurs. Our Sports Talk Pick'em Challenge at this point. K-Mac 5-0 last week, gets back to 500, 30-30. Kev Cohen, 3-2. Matt, the newsman, 4-1. They're 33-27. Jarmart, 2-3, 31-29. Pro, 2-3, 30-30. And Corn, 2-3, 27-33. So this week, Florida State, Florida, kind of a mixed bag here, 50-50. Half of us taking Florida State, half of us taking Florida. Kentucky and Louisville, everybody's taking Kentucky in the 26 except for Kev Cohen. Ohio State, Michigan, majority goes with Ohio State, laying the 6.5. Auburn and Alabama, majority says Auburn, getting the 17.5. Hard to turn down those points. He does worry me, though, what Lee said. It does worry me about the limitations of Sean White at quarterback coming off the injury, not being able to run. Alabama stuffing the running game, breaking some big plays on defense. And maybe it'll get away, but I like the 17.5. USC Clemson, and everybody's taking the Gamecocks in those points except for Kev Cohen and Kev Mack. You like the Tigers to cover.
Why not?
Well, that's your choice. That's your decision.
I'm the guy that was 5-0 last week.
You hate the Gamecocks. I think it comes through loud and clear that you're
anti-Will
Muschamp.
A Clemson media member,
you wanted Tom
member of the Clemson
Herman
media
to be here. You want anybody.
You
were part of the anybody but Will Muschamp party, and now you're just rooting against them.
I'm telling you, they're not going to greet me with open arms in that press box.
Oh, I think they will. I think there's going to be several people waiting there to see you.
Dabo will give me a hug and probably thank me after the game.
Several people will be waiting for you to welcome you back up to the Valley. Since it's been a while since you've been there. Actually, no, you were just there a couple of weeks ago. All right. That will do it for hour number 1. Hour number 2, we talk more about USC Clemson. What else? The full Monty on NASCAR at 7:30 to wrap it up for a NASCAR season. And more of your calls, picks, and thoughts here on Sports Talk.
Guys, thank you so much. Take them to the lineup, whatever you want, and take your balls. Take the take the football. Take the football.
Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Mike.
Happy Thanksgiving, Michelle. Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much. Take them to the lineup, whatever you want, and take your balls. Take the take the football. Take the football.
Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Mike.
Happy Thanksgiving, Michelle. Oh, beautiful.
Guys,
from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin Hayes.
Welcome back into Sports Talk, everybody. South Carolina Radio Network. On this Friday night, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, Tom Hayes, coming to you from our studio on Main Street, downtown Columbia. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving, having a great day today, and looking forward to a tremendous weekend. Of course, the weekend got off to a great start last night with a tremendous LSU performance and its win at Texas A&M. More great football today. We'll update the scores for you. Got recruiting coming up for you in just a moment as well, and plenty of other things to talk about. If you want to jump on the lines, and we're open, you want to jump on the lines to give us your picks for the weekend, your pick for USC Clemson tomorrow in particular. Any comments about the game that have not been touched on here, an observation, an insight that maybe we haven't shared, feel free to do so. The number is 800-956-7266. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com and on Twitter @SportsTalkSC. Want to remind you that your friends here at Sports Talk, we are brought to you by South Carolina soybean farmers and their checkoff. Learn more at scsoybeans.org. Pork powered by soy. TCU has beaten Texas 31-9. That's probably the end of the term of Charlie Strong at Texas. Hard to believe how quickly it gets away from you.
I told you what happened to Texas. I told y'all from the
Longhorn
beginning.
Network.
Thank you. The Longhorn Network killed them. Now, somebody would laugh. What, is it a jinx, Tom? No. They got greedy. They had the Longhorn Network. They wouldn't share equally with their Big 12 brethren. Texas A&M bolted, hooked up with the more high-profile SEC that spills into Texas now. And all that started with that one domino, the Longhorn Network.
And who knows, you look back, again, you see these schools that fire longtime coaches who have done great things, slip a little bit, the boosters get – everybody's got a backbone in the administration, they fire the coach. Another case, we always cite Tennessee. How long did Tennessee wander through the wilderness? Some might say they're still wandering through the wilderness. There. Texas is another one. You know, was it Mac Brown's time to go? Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. He was getting up there in age. He wanted to stay. He wanted to try to fix the problem. You know, they've been nothing since he's been gone. And there are plenty of other examples of that too. Anyway, Texas in all likelihood will be looking now. Today, Joe Oliva at LSU met with his interim coach, Ed Orgeron, to talk about the job there. Orgeron went, 5-2 in place of Les Miles. Not bad. Lost to Florida at home. Very tough loss. Played Alabama, a close game in losing to them. The program is expected to meet with Tom Herman Saturday. This according to the writer for the Baton Rouge newspaper, Ross Dellinger, who knows as much about LSU as anybody in the world. And so I trust what he's saying. Program's prepared to meet with Herman on Saturday and present an offer to the coach, a high-level source confirmed. Now, Herman, the thinking has been Herman's been waiting on Texas. And so we'll see how quickly Texas moves. I mean, if they want Tom Herman, then they got to make him pretty obvious. They got to make a move tonight if Herman's going to meet with LSU tomorrow, unless Herman until he hears sometime over the weekend from Texas.
Now, here's the deal. On the surface, it looks like Herman's holding all the cards. Yes and no. Because when you look at his roster at Houston, and some of the guys he started with are not going to be there next year. If he doesn't jump now, you know, maybe his luster falls off when he has maybe a 500 season.
Well, we see. Look, he lost one game last year. He's lost 3 games this year. They did, blow out Louisville. That's probably their high water mark of the season. But this has not been the kind of year. Houston went into this year thinking they were going to be a playoff team, playoff contender, and they were not.
And then they lost today to Memphis.
I mean, Oklahoma like a drum, though.
They did. But Oklahoma has recovered from that and played good football. Okay, a couple of things. Clemson basketball up 13-7 on High Point, 5 minutes in. Tigers shooting it at 56%. USC women's soccer playing North Carolina for the right to advance to the, round of 8, I believe. And it's 1-0. 1-0.
1-0.
I don't do the nil.
One love.
Okay.
I do 1-0, a friendly on the pitch over at USC. And USC, the number 1 seed, North Carolina, the number 2 seed. Okay, I'll play along. 1-0, Lady Tar Heels over the USC women in soccer going into the second half there momentarily. Got to get to recruiting because you know what? I committed a sin. Not mortal, but it was a sin on Wednesday. I forgot to do recruiting on Wednesday. So I feel terrible. So I got to catch you up because I know that you've been in the dark. So here we go with recruiting information, catching you up. USC target offensive lineman Jerry Drake Jr., Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, picked up offers from Michigan State and UCLA. So his situation continues to evolve. USC target defensive back Keyshawn Nixon of Arizona Western Junior College, going to Oregon State this weekend, was originally scheduled for Missouri. He was at USC last weekend. He was offered this week by UCLA. Defensive back Natron Culpepper of Miami, who took an official to USC last weekend, said he's not heard much from the Gamecocks since then, but he still considers them his favorite. His team is still playing, and he has not set up any other visits at this point. I don't think his visit was last weekend. I think I miswrote that, but it was earlier this month. 2018 defensive end Xavier Thomas of Wilson. He'll be at Clemson tomorrow. Athlete Jonathan Sims of Palmetto Prep. Defensive end Sean McConicle of Myrtle Beach was at USC for the Western Carolina game. He's not been offered by anybody, but he is drawing some interest. He says he's kind of a late recruit, and he had a really good year this year, 17.5 sacks. Ivy League schools like Cornell, Penn, Princeton, and Bucknell showing interest, but he said USC recruiter Lance Thompson got his highlight clip, and he really liked it. He is kind of undersized at defensive end, but he runs well, and they could see him at outside linebacker. So something to keep an eye on. 2018 defensive back Marcus Caldwell Jr. of Clemens, North Carolina, getting mail from Clemson and USC, but no heavy interest at this point. He has offers from Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia Tech, Louisville, and East Carolina. Defensive end Malik Herring of Forsyth, Georgia, one of the top uncommitted players in the 2017 class. He's got Clemson, Georgia, Alabama atop his list right now. No one school having an edge, according to Herring. He was at Clemson for the Syracuse game. He's going to Alabama tomorrow. He's also been to Georgia and Tennessee. He plans to take official visits later this winter, make his decision after those are completed. He's going to Georgia December 9th and to Clemson in January, also looking at Alabama, Southern Cal, and LSU for official visits. Former USC commitment defensive end Javon Kinlaw, Jones County Junior College, Mississippi, is going to take some official visits, as you know. Right now he's got Ole Miss January 20th, Alabama January 27th, but he might change the January 27th visit to USC and go to Alabama another time. Right now, he does not have a firm date set with USC. He's not sure on his other official, hearing from Mississippi State, LSU, and several others. He continues to talk daily with USC, with Muschamp, with Thompson. Issues that he had have been sort of smoothed out, and everything is good to go, but he wants to take official visits and look at others. No favorite at this point. USC and Clemson target, defensive end KJ Henry of Clemens, North Carolina, will be at Ohio State tomorrow. 2018 quarterback Braden Hawkins of Dillon will visit Virginia Tech tomorrow, and he's expecting USC to visit him next week. We have a contact period, an evaluation period, starting on Monday. Actually, I think it starts on Sunday, the 27th. And USC offered 2019 defensive end Ani Ezuchukwu of Nashville, Alabama, LSU, and Tennessee, some of the other early offers for him. Ezuchukwu. Maybe it's Ezuchukwu. Just call him Ani. And we'll be back.
because he has a drinking problem. Trust me. Text Tiger out. Yeah, what pisses me off is odds makers that
Nope, it works. Like I'm leaving a voice.
Hey, what's up with the dead air? Happy Thanksgiving, turkeys. Yeah, what pisses me off is odds makers that can't pick right. The reason Herman won't go to Texas as they cool on him is because he has a drinking problem. Trust me. Text Tiger out. Out.
Happy birthday, Philip, from the Levinsons in the
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Here on the night before the big game here in South Carolina. And looking forward to being up in the Valley tomorrow night for what should be a special night. And we'll see if the game turns out to be special. But the surroundings and the atmosphere, everything leading up to the game should be outstanding. Want to remind you from South Carolina Electric Cooperative, you can beat the peak and save on your energy bill. Visit EnergySmartSC.org/beatthepeak to learn how. All right, let's hit the phones once again here on Sports Talk. And we're headed to Rick over in Aiken. You're up next with us here on Sports Talk. Good evening. How are you?
All right, Phil. I hope you're doing fine.
Yes, sir. Doing great. Thank you.
Yeah, a long time no talk.
Yeah.
I used to be a listener to you and Teddy.
Well, that is a long time. That's a very long time.
Yep. You owed me a lifetime subscription to the recruiting news I won a long time ago on a Green Bay belt.
Yes, I remember that, Green Bay, Dallas, and you probably did receive it until the publication died. So
until I moved away.
Oh, you left. Okay. All right.
I gotta say, is this another case of Korn not living up to a bet that he made?
No. You got your copies,
paid
didn't
off
you?
I got it every week.
Yes, sir.
Until it went defunct.
I was stupid enough to offer anybody a lifetime subscription to the Recruiting News,
which is
in
probably
a
the
bet
reason,
for this Green Bay Dallas
which
game.
is probably
back
why
what
it's
year
not
was
around
that?
anymore.
Do you remember what year that
great
was?
business model.
Back in the maybe mid-'90s.
Yeah, probably so.
That's what happened to it. Korn lost so many bets giving it away for free. They didn't make any
well,
money.
I would say we had more free subscribers than we had paid. Does that pretty much kill an enterprise when you have it set up that way?
Yes.
Yeah. I go by wives. That was mid-first wife. So.
Oh, okay. That's a good way to remember.
Okay. Yeah. Nicely done.
Mm.
But, yeah, I just called to check on Teddy. I was mentioning something about Teddy. I was worried about him.
Yeah, as far as I know, he's doing fine. A little under the weather earlier this week, but I haven't talked to him since Monday, but I think everything's good. Good to go.
Okay. Oh, I got some inside information, rumors on Texas. I heard they have cooled off a lot on Herman because the rumor is he has a drinking problem.
Don't know.
I mean, all sorts of stuff floats around, and
I lived in Texas for a long time. I'm very good friends with one of their old players. In fact, one of their national championship players from the '60s, late '60s.
Yeah.
He played on one of their controversial teams.
Yeah. Again, nobody has reported anything like that. I've seen no hint of it. It seems like Texas, once they make this move with Charlie Strong, will probably go hard after him. Some are suggesting Chad Morris from SMU.
Otherwise, they wanted to talk to Dabo too, but I don't know how far that got.
Well, nowhere right now because he's in the middle of the season. But I would imagine his agent would take that call.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know what? I don't know. Dabo has a big buyout right now in his contract. Not that anything scares Texas
that's not
away.
Blink Texas,
but they've got to pay $10 million to Charlie Strong to go away.
I don't think Dabo's not the type to ATM his current employers.
That's why he has an agent.
he has been very good in dealing with Clemson. I think he feels a great deal of loyalty to them for giving him the job 8 years ago, and I don't think he'd do that. To be honest with you.
Yeah, it was just a rumor they were floating the idea.
Well, there'll be a lot of rumors out there, but
if Texas backed up a Brinks truck, I agree it's far fetched, but to think that he might not be intrigued about going to a program like that, getting them back.
I don't think Dabo is interested in going anywhere until his kids are finished with high school.
Mm-hmm.
I think
that's
the
legitimate.
family man that he is, the roots he's put down in that community and all that kind of stuff. Maybe he's different than your typical head coach, and he's made more money than he could ever dream of, and he's got fans all over the place for many different reasons. I just don't think he would do that. I think that and maybe the only place he would leave for is Alabama if that opportunity comes his way once Saban decides to retire.
Well, the interesting thing is Mark Richt. They said, well, Mark, what was your plan? I was going to take the year off, look and see what's around, and wanted to get back into coaching. He said, well, why did you get back into Miami? So I'm saying if it's open and somebody calls you about Texas, well, I want my kids to go.
I mean,
through.
it makes
now.
perfectly good sense that a high-profile job and a well-paying job with well-heeled boosters like Texas would be interested in Dabo Swinney. He's one of the top coaches in the country. No questions asked. I just don't think – I can't think for him. I'm giving my outside opinion. Based on what I've seen, what I think I know, I don't think he right now would be interested in it.
I'm playing with you. I agree with you because right now, first of all, he was given a chance at this job. Second of all, it's his baby. Anybody who comes in behind Dabo is going to catch heck because it's Dabo's program. Mm-hmm. So this is his baby.
And
Why would you leave your baby?
Right now, Dabo is in a pressure-free existence at Clemson. He's got a great setup. He's attracting.
Let him lose tomorrow night and see how pressure-free that existence is.
He lost 5 times in a row to South Carolina. And he still survived.
I get it, but you just lose the game.
But what I'm saying is when I say pressure-free, I'm talking about you go to Texas, you're automatically stepping into the hot grease. And at Clemson, I know the expectations are extremely high at Clemson, and Dabo repeats that often, but they're not like they are at Texas and some of these places where they're just, ridiculous. Not that Charlie Strong ever did anything to convince the fans there that he was the right guy when they hired him. They thought so, but it hasn't worked out that way for whatever reason. But Dabo's got strong recruiting going. He's got all the facilities you could ever want. You think he's going to leave with design being built and he's not going to have a chance to sit in it? He's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. Hey, thanks for your phone call. We appreciate it. And, of course, if you are a part of the Gamecock Nation or you bleed Clemson Orange, well, everyone can agree on Founders Federal Credit Union with a convenient location at the Russell House at USC, a new location on Highway 93 in Clemson, now open. Founders is a sure fan favorite. Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA. Still 1-0, North Carolina women leading South Carolina women in soccer over at the Graveyard. This is the game that the winner goes to the Final Eight. That's called something. They have a special name for that in women's soccer.
This is the Elite Eight.
Oh, this is the Elite Eight?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. So this gets you into the Final Four?
Yes.
Oh, see, I'm just totally
all
in the
over
dark
one.
about it. At least I'm giving the score. All right, I'm giving the daggone score.
Congratulations.
And Clemson men's basketball leading High Point 29-18, 7:36 to go in the first half. 55% shooting for the Tigers, 6 of 14 from 3. DeVoe leading the way with 9 points. Reed's got 7 off the bench. Shelton Mitchell playing for the first time off his knee injury. He's played 4 minutes, has not scored. And earlier today, the Clemson women ran their record to 7-0 with a win over Wright State, 75-51. First time the Clemson women have been 7-0 since the 98-99 season. Of course, they played an embarrassingly weak schedule.
Oh, here it comes. Corn coot.
No, I'm just saying they have played an embarrassingly weak schedule.
Knocking Clemson's schedule.
Okay, listen to the schedule, and you tell me what you think of it.
Let's hear it.
Hang on here just a second.
Let's hear this embarrassingly weak schedule.
It is. It's embarrassingly weak. Where is my daggone? Here it is. Basketball. Western Carolina, Georgia Southern.
Well, Georgia Southern's really improving.
Monmouth.
They're a very good team.
The men's team or the women's team?
This is women. Louisiana Tech.
The Texans, that's a women's basketball power.
Loyola Chicago.
A lot of great basketball players come out of Chicago.
And Wright State, okay?
Wright State's borderline. That's not an embarrassingly bad schedule.
The only reason they played Wright State is because apparently they had a deal when they hired Brad Brownell from Wright State that they had to play him in women's basketball.
And men's
7 years later, or however long it's been. No, that's an embarrassingly. Hey, look, they play Maine on December 2nd.
Well,
and
South
then
Carolina
Oregon,
played Maine,
and then they get South Carolina on December 5th. We'll see what you got, Lady Tigers, on December 15th when you take on the Lady Staleys.
The latest on this weekend's race is around the corner. The full Monty on NASCAR is next. This is Sports Talk.
Always sad this time of the year when we park the cars for another NASCAR season. We have our final edition of the full Monty on NASCAR. Monty Dutton joining us. His blog, of course, MontyDutton.com, MonteDutton. Go read it. And you recently put out a book, did you not? Another book?
Yeah, I have a new Western novel out called Cowboys Come Home.
And what's the gist of the story?
It's set at the end of World War II when two cowboys from Texas come home from duty in the Pacific as heroes, and they come home and find no peace.
Oh, sounds like a nice read.
It is.
Yeah. Is it long? That's how I judge books. How long is it?
Well, it's the print version is about 400 pages, but I actually adjusted it to make the print larger. So it's really not all that long.
Okay, very good. Well, what do you think? We now have another 7 time. And, it's like hitting a free throw in the final second after not having led the whole game or whatever, a field goal at the end to win, having not led. He doesn't lead a lap until the one that matters the most, and Jimmy Johnson wins the race, wins the championship.
Well, I guess I have several observations. Johnson, first of all, it is true that I maybe won, but I don't think Johnson would have won any of the 7 championships in a season-long setup. Now, that's just a fun fact. It's not really valid because when you don't run for the whole season in the last 10 and you win the championship for the last 10 races, you don't approach it the same way. And so you can't really say he wouldn't have won those championships because he would have. Because I think the secret of Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus, his crew chief, is that everybody else in racing says, we're just going to do what we've been doing. We're just going to go out there and try to win every week. We're just going to run every race, just take them one at a time, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what Johnson does. He actually has a plan. The other thing is, this actually drives me crazy. While it is true that statistically, in the terms of the whole season, this was Johnson's worst of his 7 championship seasons. But every single year, they act like it's a surprise when Johnson slumps in the summertime. And everybody says, oh my gosh, I don't know if he can win this year. Every single time, the whole goal with Johnson is to hit the chase running. They try other things, they experiment. They don't do that well in the summertime. Then they get their act together, win a race, coming up to it. Now, this may have been the most extreme example, but it is absurd to me that everybody acts like it's a surprise when he does this every single year.
Mm-hmm.
But, he's a great champion. He's one. I think there's a rush to judgment. They hadn't before. There were people proclaiming him the greatest driver of all time. And the number one thing that is so unfair about that is that it's never fair to judge anyone before their career is over. Because if you really wanted to compare and contrast the 3 7-time champions, I think you might look at Richard Petty's number and Dale Earnhardt's numbers when they were the same age as Johnson. Because everyone has a twilight, and almost everyone goes downhill, with the possible exception of David Ortiz, at the end of their career. And for a while, you make up with experience what you lose in your declining skills. But the fact is, Richard Petty's numbers would have been even greater than they are if he hadn't gone 8 years at the end of his career without winning a race.
Mm-hmm.
And Dale Earnhardt's number of wins went down, not as much because Dale Earnhardt didn't have as much of a twilight because of his untimely death. But when Jeff Gordon, in 1998, people said Jeff Gordon had the highest winning percentage of any driver in history. Well, yeah, then he did. The fact is that if you want to really judge people, you can't really judge them because people, you at least have to do it. You have to compare a full career to a partial career. I actually think it is not absurd to say that Jimmy Johnson is one of the. It's absurd to sit there and say, I don't care what you say, hands down, he's the greatest of all time. That's way premature.
So as we look ahead to 2017, there'll be a new sponsor, I guess, for the series. Any idea who's going to step forward to replace Sprint? Will they have a sponsor in 2017?
There is the one that's most often mentioned is Monster Energy Drink, which is a Coca-Cola product. And I don't, I have to admit that I'm sitting here watching a college football game at AT&T Stadium, and I don't care what they call it, and they'll probably call it something else next year. And the business end of racing is not my bag.
Yeah.
And so I don't have a whole lot of interest, but, it seems like to me that the only specific name that's been widely mentioned, other than the, round up the usual suspects and name people that happen to make sense to the person who's writing it. I think Monster's the only one I've heard.
Okay.
They'll have somebody.
I'm sorry?
I think they'll have somebody.
Oh, they'll have somebody. Yeah.
I think that probably the amount will probably will be less than they've been getting and less than they would admit. And whenever things go down, NASCAR stops announcing them. When attendance went down, they stopped announcing attendance. Well, now, then this past year, they used this. Now they don't even say how much money is at the end of the race, because there's this incredible formula that all of the franchise teams have, and it's too complicated to let them know what they did. But then at the end of the year, the owners have negotiated the drivers to get less money, and so the champion's going to get about half as what he did last year. And so NASCAR has a tendency to stop disclosing things when they don't look as good.
Excellent point. You know what? You're right. They used to always have the money for each driver based on the finish. Some drivers, even though they finished behind others, made more money because of various bonus packages and all that kind of stuff. So you're right. I didn't even realize that.
I didn't see a single NASCAR release all year about soaring TV ratings.
Yeah. Do you think that will continue the decline of NASCAR TV ratings moving forward?
Well, I think that I think that there's a certain level of popularity, and I also think that all television properties are affected by the fact that the pie is the same size and has a lot more pieces in it, So, I think that that's just a trend of our times, but I think it's a rather extreme trend in NASCAR's case. And I think that the shine is sort of, they nobody ever talks about being the fastest growing sport anymore. They've come back to earth, and at some point they'll normalize it and they'll start to build up again if they don't match up and panic.
Okay, final minute with you for this racing season. Give us one Monty Dutton bold prediction for 2017 for next season. What is it?
Boy, you caught me completely off guard.
I know.
I'm going to say that. What desperate move are they going to make this coming year? I think that the most interesting point of this coming season will be the fate of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Whether we see that he's completely back to normal and resumes his career, or that we see he's just never going to be the driver he used to be, and I don't think he'll linger long if that is the case.
Excellent point. Nice job being put on the spot there and coming up with a good answer.
He's the best in the business.
Why you're the full Monty. Monty, we hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Have a great weekend, a great off season from a NASCAR standpoint. We want to remind folks to go to your blog, montydutton.com, buy your books. I still have your book on the history of Clinton football. I do plan to read that at some time.
You could probably make some money in Clinton on that. Because it's not in Clinton. People ask me about it all the time. I think they want it more now when it came out.
Well, I have a copy of it. So, listen, man, we can't thank you enough for being with us all NASCAR season long. Look forward to being back with you when Daytona gets here in late February.
All right, thanks. Take care, Phil.
Take care, Monty. Monty Dutton, full Monty here on NASCAR. We'll be back. We got some over and unders to talk about for the Gamecocks and the Tigers. We are back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. South Carolina Forestry Commission reminds you insects and diseases can be moved hundreds of miles in firewood and threatened forests, campsites, neighborhoods, and state and national parks. Help protect the trees you love by purchasing firewood at or near where you burn it. For more information, visit don'tmovefirewood.org. Update a couple of things. North Carolina leads USC in soccer, women's soccer, 1-0 with about 9 minutes to go in regulation. Clemson at the half leading High Point 44-31. DeVoe leading the Tigers with 11. Tigers 50% from the floor, 6 of 18 from 3, 12 of 13 from the line. All right, before we get back to calls, I want to do this real quick, something that's always a lot of fun to do prior to this game. Over-under. Here are the numbers for over-under. We'll start with you, K-Mac. Over-under touchdown passes by Deshaun Watson in the game.
Over-under?
Yeah, let's see over-under.
Oh, I would say 2.5.
2.5.
Would you go over or under that?
Over,
I mean, usually when you do over under, you give a number and the other person says whether it's going to be over.
Well, I'm going to let you judge yourself.
Okay, but yeah, I think
over under for
this is just
Deshaun
passes,
Watson.
not total.
This is touchdown passes.
Okay,
how many touchdown
passes.
What's the over under you think on touchdown passes for Deshaun Watson? Against the USC
I'm going to say
defense?
4.
That's 28 points, 4 touchdowns. I'd say 4 as well. I think he'll be
the guy that wrote the Gamecocks who can bet their golden spurs that they can win. He thinks Deshaun Watson
can win, not will win.
Now,
That's
here's
big
my
difference in words.
Here's my
Can
reason.
win.
Here's my reasoning for this. My reasoning
You should
is
adjust that headline.
My reasoning is Clemson has made a habit of going from the 30 on in. They don't like throwing passes down deep when they get into the red zone, and they have the inability to run the football down deep. So I think they're going to attack with the pass.
6 turnovers in the red zone by Clemson this year, including by pass. Interceptions by Deshaun Watson. Over under.
2.
1.
3.
He thinks he's going to throw 4 touchdowns. How many possessions are there going to be in this
It's
game?
a long
200?
game.
He's going to throw like
rushing yards by Rico
Pittsburgh.
Dowdle. Rushing yards by Rico Dowdle.
50.
I'd say 70.
85. Passing yards by Jake Bentley.
180.
200.
180, 200. Going to throw it a good bit. 250. Sacks by Clemson.
6.
Sacks by Clemson.
I'd say 5.
Yeah. 7.
This guy wrote a commentary about how the Gamecocks, you bet your golden spurs they can
You like
win.
that, don't you, K-Man? You like?
Well, I just find it hilarious that you'd write this and you think they're going to get sacked 7 times. Watson's going to throw 4 touchdowns. But yeah, hey, you bet your golden spurs they can win.
See, I'm trying to wonder what the
It could
game
snow
plan is,
tomorrow.
because you could say 7 sacks, and they don't have 7 sacks, but they've hit him 10 times. Because what I see in this is Muschamp, there's going to have to be a clock in his head. 1, 2, 3.
Better be in Bentley said, not Muschamp.
That's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying
Mhm.
they've been telling him all through practice this week, clock in your head.
Mhm.
1, 2, 3, roll out and throw it out of bounds
Mhm.
instead of taking the sack. But let me tell you something. When he rolls out and throws it away, he's still going to get hit. So I kind of
That doesn't count as a sack.
Yeah, I know, but I count quarterback hits for sacks, because hits take their toll.
All right, well, the Gamecocks, the Tigers, they're both going to try and score big tomorrow. You can score big with Founders Federal Credit Union with convenient office locations at USC and Clemson, ATMs at Clemson and Converse and USC, Limestone, Presbyterian, and USC Lancaster, plus Winthrop and York Tech. Be sure to visit foundersfcu.com for a full listing to find an ATM or office near you. If you're not a member, visit relaxjoinfounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA. We go back to the phones, and it's Frank over in Lexington. with us next here on Sports Talk. Hi, Frank. How are you?
How y'all doing?
We're doing great. How are you?
Fine. I'm doing great.
Good.
First of all, I'm going to tell you I'm a Gamecock fan,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to let you know I don't think they're going to win tomorrow night. But if they do, what does that do for Clemson in the national ranking? I will hang up and listen.
It drops them like they've got a brick tied around their neck. I mean, they'll drop out of the top 4. They'll probably drop down to the lower part of the top 10 should they lose, because Washington's won. They're going to move up. Alabama stands to win over Auburn, so they'll still be there. Ohio State or Michigan will still be there, but Clemson will drop a
Wisconsin would love that. I'm sure Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin's waiting in the wings. Washington's waiting in the wings. Penn State is waiting in the wings. So, going to be a very interesting day tomorrow, and then we get to those league championship games
next week.
I
love these
don't forget that.
Yeah.
So, all right, thank you for your phone call. Really appreciate it. And let's you want to do a what the phone?
Yeah, let's do a what the phone.
Have we got a what the phone? Okay, by the way, we haven't mentioned our what the phone here, but we can mention our what the phone number, which of course gives you the opportunity to call in to us at any time, day or night, and leave a thought, a comment, a observation. The number is 803-509-2705, 803-509-2705. So let them fly starting tomorrow night during or after the ball game. Share your observations and your comments with us. No, we don't want that one. We'll take the other one, though. Here is what we've got for you on the what the phone line.
Yeah, what pisses me off is odds makers that can't pick right. The reason Herman won't go to Texas is they cool on him is because he has a drinking problem. Trust me.
This is the guy that called.
He left the what the phone.
Is that it? All right, there you go. Are we back up? You guys back up here? Okay. I think he called into the show here earlier. You should have been alert enough to recognize that, Jarmart. So we got a double dose of our gentleman from Aiken there.
Thinks that Tom Herman needs to go to rehab.
All right, so what do we think is going to happen over the weekend with this situation? LSU, Texas, Houston. How do you think it's going to work its way out, and how quickly is it going to work its way out?
I think that when all the dust settles, LSU will end up standing pat. With Orgeron.
Really?
That's going out on a little bit of a limb, but I'll take that. They're going to look around and realize that the grass might not be greener for stability and continuing the program. And I think you could do a lot worse than Ed Orgeron, quite frankly. He's an SEC type of coach. Mm-hmm. Now, I think he had the deal at Ole Miss, and he's been other places, but he's a great recruiter. And they need to get some offense going there. If he can bring it, they just have to get offense.
Ding.
But if you bring in Herman, you're going to lose the defense. You're not going to outscore people in the SEC. LSU's won a lot of games without a great offense.
Can I expound on what he just said about them adding offense?
Well, if you can do it in 15 seconds.
Ed Orgeron, stand pat with him, and he brings over his old friend from Southern California. Lane Kiffin leaves Alabama and comes to LSU.
Lane Kiffin will be getting a head coaching job.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he moves until he gets a head coaching job. You don't want to be known as a career assistant. Now, Orgeron, the thing against
known for
him,
a lot of things, career assistant.
The thing against him, though, it's like with Muschamp. The Muschamp is viewed by what happened at Florida. Orgeron's viewed by what happened at Ole Miss.
Yes.
Even though he has stepped in other places and done an excellent job.
And he's done some crazy things at Southern Cal as an
But look at this, that LSU job with that quarterback coming back and that running back coming back and some of the other people they got coming back. That's a nice job for whoever steps in there. So, okay, guys, have yourselves a great weekend. Thanks for being with us. Enjoy the football game up at Clemson tomorrow night, and we'll talk about it with you on Monday night. Good night.